Well, this sweat that you see wasn't the game. The sweat was me hugging every single one of those kids who, quite frankly, deserved more than a hug from me. They deserve a hug from the state of Connecticut. They deserve a hug from the university. They deserve a state from our fans. And quite frankly, if you're a basketball enthusiast and see a team that limited, self-imposed certainly, but the players that are brought here against a terrific team that I think Calhoun's a terrific coach, Gordon's a great player. To do what we did, it's certainly the greatest win I've had, and it's going to get there someplace since the national championship team beat Georgia Tech. It could even, quite frankly, be the Duke game, which we came back from down 7. Just the circumstances surrounded our program. The situation, which I'm not going to discuss, but the situation, because I want to give you a time frame for these kids. At 12:10 yesterday, I was preparing to finishing up with George Blaney, as we always do, which takes 5 hours to put together a 2-hour practice because we're both Irish, and really take that term and run with it with a lot of bullshit. But with that said, I then was informed about 15 to 20 minutes before practice. I made a decision quickly because I didn't have all the information to practice them. They did practice with our team. Before they got on the bus, I got a little more information. I had a half an hour, and I left those 2 people home. When the kids got here, and some of the guys were here, Mike and Phil and those guys, and asked the kids, and they told you they didn't know what was going on, they didn't. They were explained late last night and early this morning. From an aspect of basketball, from an aspect of everything that I believe in, and maybe why I do this thing, when people respond that way, I'm not saying we don't have players. We do have players. I mean, Asheem Thabit made 2 blocks and 20 detour signs. They went in, and they left with the ball without him ever blocking the shot. Jeff, who started off rough, came like a soldier. Donnell Beverly did something that you can't ask a kid to do. Never play in a big game and come in and give significant minutes. Sticks put Curtis at the 3 spot this morning. This morning at breakfast. He's our 4-man. And what our kids did was one of the most special things that I'm not going to break down and cry. That's not who I am. But the pride I feel with them and the hugs I gave to them are why athletic competition brings out the things in people that are very, very special. I can't think, as I said, I think back to Duke down 7, national championship game. It's on that plateau. I mean, my respect for Indiana, this building, for all it represents, this is basketball heaven, and I love every bit of it. And to come in here when they have a 17-1 team with some terrific players, and to have our kids, AJ twice, as you saw, vomited on the court. They gave everything they had. I just was hoping that clock would malfunction and go quicker. We were running out of gas, and yet we found enough within the side of us. And I know it's a soliloquy, not a question and answer, but it's how I feel right now. I feel so much pride, not in myself at all, but in my kids, in the way they responded, in the way they just did everything we asked them to do and got, as I said, as good a win. I'll remember this for an awful long time.
Can you talk about the progress Thabit has made from last year to this year?
I still think he has a little bit of ways to go because tonight wasn't his best night offensively. But he did hold White somewhat in check, and he held everybody else in check. I was trying to think of, and I really can't, and I've had Okafor, and I've had Travis Knight. These are all NBA centers. Obviously, we've got Josh and Hilton Armstrong, and you keep naming it. And any progress they made would be pale in comparison of a kid 4 years ago who hadn't touched a basketball. His father was the greatest soccer player in Tanzanian history. He had the highest QM on our team this year. He's an incredibly bright young guy. And his work ethic and what he did this summer to get himself ready, and now we're starting to see some of the results of those. I couldn't be prouder of him. I couldn't be prouder of AJ, given the fact of what he had to overcome, some self-imposed and some by nature, and we almost lost him. To watch Craig, who many times has been beat out by Marcus Williams after starting 13 games in a row, undefeated, by the way, and have Marcus Williams beat him out, and to watch him make those foul shots tonight, to watch Sticks, Stanley Robinson play the way he did, every single one of them, and the team, the guys on the bench, just the spirit on our team was phenomenal. But Hashim is, I've never had anybody make the progress he has. I truly believe that, and this, once again, he's going to do what he's going to do, and he may be forced to do something. But if he ever waits another year, he'll be the best big man in the country, far and away. He'll be he'll be able to change any game, and he'll be one of the most dominated players in recent memory, in my opinion. Is he going to be Greg Odom? I don't know about that offensively, but I do know defensively he's an incredible force. Sometimes just, as they say, being there and being active.
Can you talk like a team defense tonight?
We worked on it yesterday in practice. That's all we really worked on, Jeff, and some adjustments. We tried to get at least some of the guys playing different positions. Donnell obviously got a lot more work. Those two people who didn't accompany us, we put them on the other team and went against them, because even if I had decided to bring them, they weren't playing. That I had made my mind up, and then I made my mind up not to bring them. But point being is that we were trying to get Donnell. Okay, Donnell, you've been sitting for 2.5 months on the yellow team. We'd like you to go to Bloomington, Indiana, get to Assembly Hall, play the 7th-ranked team in the country, and we expect you to be good, by the way. And he was. And he was good. Yeah, try guiding Gordon in your first time out. So, but we worked very hard in defense. You know that we've been great offensive recently. And obviously we thought we came in today with some deficiencies. We tried to slow the game down at times. We tried to speed the game up. The end, by the way, we were only teasing the ball. Someone said, well, was that premature? We had nothing left. We had nothing left. And I thought if I could give AJ 10 or 20 seconds just off the ball, just standing there, we could win the basketball game, because he was just absolutely terrific. And then get the ball into Craig's hands, who's one of the best foul shooters in the Big East.
Last question, folks. Was moving AJ on the ball, to give him some rest, and because he could do a little bit?
Well, because all of a sudden if you lose 24 or 5 points out of your lineup, you got to find a replacement, and that's why we moved him off the ball, and try to get him to score more. But as I said, I mean, I've been doing this for 36 years as a Division I head coach, and I can, when I get to that 1 or 2 hand list max, because unfortunately I'm old and I've done a lot of games. But when you get to close to 1,200 games, this one's going to be up there, just because of they had no idea what was going on, and quite frankly, they didn't blink. They didn't blink. Down 9-1, and they didn't blink. And I couldn't be more damn proud of them than I am. And I'm, once again, not exactly a syrupy guy. Normally I'll be up here telling you what they didn't do. What they did do is show you everything that I've hoped when I leave Connecticut, which who knows when that's going to be, shortly or whenever, then I would hope that all our teams and the rest of the way through would always play that way. That's Connecticut basketball to the ultimate, and that epitomizes what we want this program to represent. Thanks.